Here, more than 14,000 people were imprisoned and only 12 survived.
This place was not always a museum. It was a prison, a torture center, a place where fear did not end even with death. Here, men, women, and children were forced to confess things they never did, and when their words were no longer useful, neither were their bodies. Each bed you see is not empty. It is laden with what happened on it. Here, the truth was not sought. Control, fear, and absolute obedience were. Today, this place still stands, not to be visited, but to be remembered. Between 1975 and 1979, Cambodia experienced one of the darkest chapters in its recent history, when the country fell under the control of the Khmer Rouge, a regime led by Pol Pot which sought to rebuild society from scratch regardless of the human costs. Their goal was radical: to eliminate any trace of the modern world and transform Cambodia into a completely agrarian nation where social classes, education, money, and urban life as we know it did not exist. To achieve this, millions of people were expelled from the cities and forced to work in the fields, subjected to extreme workdays, constant hunger, and absolute surveillance. Entire families were separated, and any sign of education or critical thinking could become a death sentence. Speaking another language, having studied, or even wearing glasses could be enough to be considered a threat to the system. In this context, more than 200 detention and interrogation centers were created throughout the country, places where people were taken not to seek justice, but to be broken, forced to confess, and disappear. It is estimated that nearly 2 million people died during those years, victims of executions, forced labor, diseases, and malnutrition. And some of those places still exist.
Today, Phnom Penh vibrates with life.
But beneath that energy lies a deep wound. Just a few decades ago, this city witnessed one of the darkest chapters of the 20th century, a regime that tried to erase history and with it millions of people. To understand the pain that lives in the streets of Phnom Penh, one must look back to one of the darkest pages of modern history. Salot Sar, better known as Pol Pot, was a Cambodian leader educated in France who dreamed of erasing all traces of modernity to build an egalitarian peasant society. His extreme ideology led him to execute anyone who posed a threat, becoming one of the deadliest dictators of the 20th century. His goal was to create a perfect agrarian society. To achieve this, they emptied cities, abolished money, schools, religion, and systematically murdered anyone they considered a threat: intellectuals, teachers, monks. In just 4 years, almost a quarter of the population died from executions, hunger, disease, forced labor. The most chilling part is that this did not happen centuries ago, it happened just a few decades ago. This place until known as Tuol Sleng was a school until the Khmer Rouge turned it into the most feared torture center in Cambodia. Here, more than 14,000 people were imprisoned and only 12 survived. The silence here is heavy, as if the walls still whisper the screams of those who never left.
Every person who entered S21 was recorded with obsessive precision, photographed from the front, in profile, numbered. They were not portraits, they were evidence of existence before being erased. The prisoners were forced to confess. It didn't matter if they were innocent, the confessions had to fit into a narrative that was already written. Spies, traitors, enemies of the Ankar. And if the words didn't come out, the pain made them appear. The cells, many improvised within old classrooms, were minimal spaces. Iron chains imposed silence. Sleep was regulated. Talking forbidden. Even breathing too loudly could be punished. The clothes you see today are not an exhibition. They are the last remnants of thousands of lives reduced to objects. Each garment was removed, classified as if order could justify the horror. The methods of torture were not chaotic. They were systematic, designed to break not only the body but the will, to turn a person into evidence against themselves. And while all that was happening, someone was taking notes, filing, documenting, because in S21, terror was not an excess, it was a procedure.
The horrors was not only inhuman, it was systematic. Children, females, the elderly, all considered a threat to a regime that hated knowledge and individuality. Today, Phnom Penh honors its dead, but also looks forward. Among modern avenues and ancient temples, the memory remains alive. Cambodians do not forget, but neither do they stop. The peace that is felt today has been earned with pain and dignity. The most important thing is not what was destroyed, but what grew back. Phnom Penh is a city that sings, that eats, that laughs, that dances, that races every day, determined not to be defined by its pain. Here I learned that resilience is not just staying alive, it is living with strength. Each country has wounds, but few like those of Cambodia, and yet here I am, eating in a city that did not give up. Phnom Penh is not just the capital of a country, it is living proof that even in the darkest abyss, the human soul can find the light. Tayo, yan na, andali kuma. Thank you for joining me on this very moving, very reflective day. If you like this video, if this video touched your heart, I invite you to show siyama. So sana panano kos. share, subscribe. This video is dedicated to all the victims who directly or indirectly suffered under the regime of Pol Pot, because remembering is resisting forgetting.